I sat in my courtroom that fateful morning, the weight of justice pressing on my shoulders as it always did. The air was thick with the scent of polished wood and hushed whispers from the gallery. Little did I know that the case about to unfold would challenge not just the law, but the very essence of mercy and redemption. A spoiled teenager, drunk behind the wheel, had plowed his luxury car straight through the front window of a family-owned convenience store, shattering glass, lives, and illusions of invincibility. As the bailiff called the defendant's name Alexander Harrington, I locked eyes with the boy, his designer clothes rumpled, his face a mask of defiance hiding terror. This wasn't just another DUI. It was a collision of privilege and consequence, and what I did next would echo far beyond these walls. Let me take you back to how it all began. It was a Friday night in Providence, the kind where the city hums with energy, but for young Alex, it was just another excuse to push boundaries. Born into wealth, the son of a prominent real estate mogul, Alex had everything handed to him on a silver platter: private schools, exotic vacations, a fleet of cars before he could even vote. His parents, well-meaning but absent, compensated with money what they lacked in time. "He's just a kid," they'd say, bailing him out of scrapes that grew bolder each time. That night, after a party fueled by underage drinking and peer pressure, Alex decided he was untouchable. He slid into his father's Porsche, the engine roaring like his inflated ego, and sped off into the darkness. The store was a cornerstone of the neighborhood, run by Maria Gonzalez, a single mother of 3 who had poured her life savings into it after immigrating from Mexico. She stocked shelves with Dreams fresh produce for families, school supplies for kids, a place where community gathered. At 11:45 p.m., as Maria was closing up, the screech of tires pierced the quiet street. Alex, blood alcohol level twice the legal limit, misjudged a turn. The car vaulted the curb, smashing through the plate glass window in a cacophony of destruction. Shelves toppled like dominoes, cans exploding, glass raining down. Maria dove behind the counter, her heart pounding, escaping with cuts and bruises. But the real damage? Her livelihood in ruins, insurance battles looming, and the fear that her American dream was crumbling. The police report landed on my desk the next week, painting a vivid picture. Witnesses described Alex stumbling from the wreckage, laughing at first, then sobbing as reality hit. No fatalities, thank God, but the property damage exceeded $50,000. And Maria's emotional scars ran deeper. As judge, I've seen it all: hardened criminals, desperate souls, misguided youth. But Alex? He embodied the peril of unchecked entitlement. His parents hired the best lawyers, arguing it was a youthful mistake, pleading for leniency. The prosecutor pushed for jail time, citing the recklessness that could have killed someone. Court day arrived, the room packed. Alex stood before me, his tie askew, eyes downcast. I began as I always do. "Young man, tell me what happened in your own words." His voice trembled as he recounted the night, the party, the drinks, the blur of lights. "I didn't mean to," he whispered, tears welling. But I pressed further. "Why were you drinking? Why drive?" The truth spilled out: pressure to fit in, a void from absent parents, a belief that rules didn't apply to him. Maria took the stand next, her voice steady but laced with pain. She spoke of her struggles, her children's futures hanging by a thread because of one boy's folly. I listened intently, weighing the scales. Justice isn't blind. It's compassionate when warranted. Sending Alex to jail might satisfy vengeance, but would it reform him? I thought of my own youth, the mistakes I made, the second chances that shaped me. "Alexander," I said, leaning forward, "you've been given much, but you've squandered it. This isn't just about a crashed store. It's about crashed lives." The gallery held its breath. Instead of prison, I sentenced him to 500 hours of community service at Maria's store, helping rebuild it brick by brick. He'd attend a meetings, lose his license for a year, and pay restitution from his trust fund. But more, he'd mentor at-risk teens, sharing his story to prevent others' falls. What happened next surprised even me. Alex didn't rebel. He transformed. Week by week, under Maria's guidance, he learned humility: stocking shelves, mopping floors, listening to customer stories. Maria, initially wary, saw the boy beneath the bravado. They forged an unlikely bond. She became the mother figure he lacked. His parents, shaken, stepped up, attending family counseling. By the end of his service, the store shone anew, and Alex? He volunteered beyond his hours, started a youth sobriety group. When he returned to my court for a progress check, he stood tall, gratitude in his eyes. "Thank you, Judge," he said. "You didn't just punish me. You saved me." This case lingers with me, a reminder that true justice heals. In a world quick to condemn, sometimes mercy is the most powerful sentence. Alex graduated college sober, now advocating against drunk driving. Maria's store thrives, a symbol of resilience, and me? I continue presiding, hoping each ruling sparks change. Because in the end, it's not about the crash, it's about the comeback. Years passed, yet the echoes of that case never left me. I still remember the day Alexander Harrington walked back into my courtroom unannounced. No summons, no lawyer, just him, now 25, standing tall in a simple button-down shirt. No trace of the designer arrogance he once wore like cologne. "Your Honor," he said, voice steady, "may I approach?" The gallery was half empty that afternoon, just a few routine traffic cases. I waved him forward, curious. He placed a thick folder on the bench and stepped back, hands clasped in front of him like a man who had finally learned respect. "I'm not here for me," he began. "I'm here for someone else." Inside the folder were letters, hundreds of them, handwritten, some on notebook paper torn from school binders, others typed and printed at libraries. Teenagers, parents, even a few correctional officers, all telling the same story, a kid who was spiraling the way Alex once had, until someone played them a video, Alex's video. The one he recorded himself 2 years after his sentencing, raw, unscripted, sitting on a plastic chair in the back room of Maria Gonzalez's store, eyes red from crying, telling the world exactly how low he had fallen and how far he had climbed back. He had posted it anonymously at first. Then the shares exploded. Teachers showed it in assemblies. Probation officers played it for first-time DUs. Mothers emailed it to sons who wouldn't listen to anyone else, Alex continued. "There's a boy in front of you next month, same age I was, same blood alcohol level, same 'my dad will fix it' attitude. His name is Dylan, his father already called my old lawyer." I remembered the name from the calendar. Another Porsche. Another storefront, this time a pharmacy? The pharmacist lost an eye. "I'm asking permission," Alex said, "to meet him before his hearing. Not as a celebrity, not as a success story, just as the guy who sat where he's about to sit. If even one kid turns around because of what you started that day, Judge, let me pay it forward." I granted it, of course. How could I not? 3 weeks later, Dylan stood before me, shaking, his $900 sneakers scuffing the floor. Alex sat in the front row, no suit. Just jeans and the same quiet presence he'd earned mopping. Maria's floors at 6 a.m. for 500 straight hours. I rendered the same creative sentence. Rebuild. What you destroyed. Face the person you almost killed. Lose the license, lose the ego. Find your soul, Dylan sneered at first, the way Alex once did. Until the bailiff escorted him out and Alex stood up. "Hey, Dylan," he called softly. The boy turned. "Third shelf on the left. That's where the glass cut deepest. I still have the scar on my forearm from cleaning it up. Come find me when you're ready to talk." Something shifted in Dylan's eyes that day. Fear met recognition. 6 months later, Maria's store had 2 young men working the morning shift instead of 1. Dylan showed up late the first week, hungover and defiant. Alex waited for him outside with 2 coffees and said nothing, just handed him the broom. By week 4, Dylan was opening the store himself. By month 8, he was the one recording the video for the next kid. Maria, now 53, gray streaking her braid, started calling them Miss Hijas Perdidas Q in Contra, my lost boys that I found. She hung a small plaque above the register none of them knew she had made, in memory of second chances. "Thank you, Judge Caprio." I still get letters. From California, from Texas, from a women's prison in Ohio where a 34-year-old mother wrote that her 17-year-old daughter watched Alex's video the night before she was due in court for her third underage drinking charge. And for the first time, the girl cried, really cried, and asked to call her probation officer at 2 a.m. to start rehab immediately. Every time I read one, I think back to that original moment, the shattered glass, the trembling boy, the single mother clutching her rosary in the back row, and I realized the story never actually ended. It multiplied. Justice, real justice, isn't a gavel bang. It's a spark passed hand to hand in the dark, and as long as I sit on this bench, I will keep striking matches, because some fires aren't meant to punish, they're meant to light the way home.